Thanks for joining us today. I'm Cody Holyoke. We are watching a major deadline affecting thousands of home and property owners in Jackson County, Missouri, many of whom are dealing with a major case of sticker shock. Assessments are up 30% on average in Jackson County, according to the county's assessment department, which points to a rise in market values. Though a number of homeowners have told us the value of their home skyrocketed even more. That means higher taxes, much higher in many cases.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil. So that's what we're hoping to get, some oil.
It's why people are packing property tax workshops like these in the metro, working with attorneys and other groups to prepare appeals. They only have 8 days left to do it, despite getting notices 2 months late. As of right now, July 10th is still the deadline.
My taxes went up like $2,200 from last year. And I'm retired, I'm on a fixed income, and I need to know why, and why is this happening?
Let's try to answer that. How did we get here? Well, it's no secret home prices are high, so that's a factor. But the county looks at property values differently than you might think. They don't go to each house, look around and take notes. There are just too many homes for that. It would take forever. Instead, the county uses mass appraisals, breaking Jackson County down into market areas, which may have as many as 1,000 homes in them. The county's assessment director tells us computer algorithms then figure out the values for each home in those areas. And she admits the system's not perfect.
It's not an exact science. Sometimes just simply a single street can make the difference in what the value is. And so the appeals process is part of the whole reassessment process. We don't want anybody paying more than what their house is worth, but we do want everybody to pay their fair share.
The takeaway here, the county is welcoming appeals to clear out the outliers. It's already received more than 11,000 appeal requests, a small percentage of overall homes, though remember, there's still time. And that timeline's been truncated because of the delay in sending out notices to taxpayers. So let's get to the heart of the matter today with Stacey Johnson Cosby, real estate agent, president of the Kansas City Regional Housing Alliance. Stacey, thank you so much for being with us. Sure. Bit of a backstory here. You also served for a long time on the Board of Equalization, so you've heard many of these property tax appeals in the past. Right. You've been helping with these workshops. You've been hearing from many, many people. Tell us about that.
People are absolutely scared to death, and they have reason to be. So many of these taxpayers, if their appeals aren't successful, if they don't even know they can appeal, they're going to be forced from their homes because their property value, the prices are going to go up so much on mortgage payments and just paying the taxes in general. And people are fearful, rightfully so.
That's the biggest question we have heard at these workshops is, first off, why? Why is this happening? What's different this time? Because, taxes have gone up before, evaluations have gone up before. What's different this time?
That the county didn't learn their lesson in 2019. So we went through the same thing in 2019. Why isn't it any better 4 years later? What have they been doing in the meantime? They invested, they spent $17 million of our taxpayer dollars for Tyler Technologies, and they are absolutely wrong in this process. I heard a legislator say that the company admits that they messed up, and so they're going to give them another year, free. And so that's not acceptable to us. They should have gotten it right, and if they didn't, we need the leaders in the county to stop this process right now and get it right.
You're talking about the vendors that they're using for
right.
notifications. How much of a role does that 2-month delay play in this process right now? Because it feels like the deadline, it's been the same deadline for a while, but the notifications have been far fewer.
Right. So yet another flaw in the system. Not only is the technologies where they're evaluating the properties, not only is that wrong, but the fact that they are delayed in timeline. They had 4 years since the last appeal, 2 since the last one, but 4 years since they made the mistake to get it right. Why didn't they get it right? What were they doing?
Now, let's talk about some information that viewers can use because we know many Jackson County homeowners are watching here. What's the biggest misconception about the appeals process that you've been hearing that you've been trying to clear up with homeowners, and what steps can they take?
Right, well, so people don't understand the process. That's the problem. They don't understand it, and there are going to be so many thousands of homeowners and taxpayers who don't even know that this is a process available to them. And so one thing that we want them to know as community volunteers, get their appeal filed by July 10th, no matter what, filed by July the 10th.
Just 8 days away now.
Yeah, absolutely. So even if they don't have their evidence pulled together and they don't feel like they're ready yet, they need to file that to preserve their time and their opportunity to appeal.
And it doesn't necessarily mean they have to bring pictures and everything. They just have to get that dispute number, right? That appeal number to start the process.
To get started, that's right, and to preserve their opportunity to appeal. In case they work it out with the informal, they can always cancel. But we need them to make sure that they file that appeal by July 10th to preserve the opportunity should they need it and need to go before the BOE.
Here's a question that I didn't have an answer for, so hopefully you do. Is it possible for taxes to go up even further after an appeal? Like,
well,
if they check the algorithm, they say, actually, we think your home's worth more now.
Right, at any point in the process, three things can happen. They could keep it the same, they can lower it, or they can increase it. In my years on the BOE, it was very rare that it was increased, but it's something that is a possibility. So if a taxpayer has their assessment, they're looking at it, they need to talk to a real estate agent and say, is this in line with the average comps in my neighborhood, my other properties that have sold? If the answer is yes, if it's right, they need to stop, and just consider themselves lucky.
Let's talk about how to appeal, because the county assessment director is saying you can come to 1300 Washington Street, though she admits that they are book solid with reservations right now, or you can go online. I imagine for some people, we saw a lot of seniors at those workshops who might not be the best with computers and the internet, that's another roadblock.
Right, and there are a lot of people who may not have access to technology or to computers too. And when they're calling in, so the backup plan is to call in. So when they're calling in, the phones are jammed, they can't get through. And so at every turn in this process, there's a problem. So why won't the county just stop it and get it right? It's not fair that we have to continue to deal with the incompetence of what we're finding in the process.
Now, I know that the taxpayers have another recourse that they could go to the state, but in order to get to that point, they have to do this first, right?
Right. So if they're not happy at the informal process, they can go to the BOE. At the BOE level, if they're not happy, they go to the State Tax Commission.
So July 10th is the deadline, as we said, 8 days away. What's next? What's beyond this corner?
So one of the things that the community volunteers and the real estate agents who volunteered and hosted those 3 workshops, and between all 3 of them over the last 6 days, we saw almost 3,000 people that were desperate for help. They all said that they wanted some kind of action step to take. They wanted to do something. Who do we call? What do we do? So we're going to host that meeting. We're going to host a community-wide call to action on July the 15th. We're still working on the details. We're going to have elected officials who are in a position to do something leading us with the meeting, saying, hey, community, here's where I need your help. And here's what we can do to correct this fiasco that we're in the middle of.
Well, we'll check back in closer to that. Stacey Johnson Cosby, thank you very much
You're
for your
welcome.
time. KABC 9 News will be watching the appeals process every step of the way. We have information on how you can get started right now online at KMBC.com.